Michelle here, the founder and CEO of ihelpmoms.com, where we are on a mission to make life easier, healthier, and happier. And I am so honored to get to work with the most amazing parenting coaches, literally in all of the world. And today I have on Coach Sasha with me. She is a marriage specialist. She is a mom mental wellness and well-being coach. And best of all, she also helps with child behavior because let's face it, it often all is intertwined with one another. So we love this. Thanks for being on with us, Coach Sasha.
Woo! Thank you for having me on, Michelle. This is awesome. I love I Help Moms, so I'm excited for us to chat.
Absolutely. Well, I always say I'm always going to be authentic on I Help Moms. And the questions that I have for Sasha are often questions I reflect on myself. So we're going to be vulnerable here today. And the first question I have for you, Sasha, is what is your advice as one of our coaches for moms to actually find some balance as a working mom, maybe as a volunteering mom, as a wife, as a partner, as a mom of multiple children, as a mom of maybe one child that's busy? What is your insight so that we can find some balance in our life?
Oh, I love this question because that is exactly what I do. That is my whole mission in life, is to make sure women understand how they can have it all, but it just might not be the way they expect. So let me tell you first how I view like the work-life balance. I feel like society tells us that it's basically this like juggling act. Like we have one ball, which is work, and then one ball, which is home. We have to come home at 5, and you have to be in bed by like 9. All of these like kind of balls, and the childcare and this and that, and it's just like juggling. And let's be real, we could only juggle for so long without them falling down. And that's how I feel a lot of moms feel, is that they're just failing at home. That with some ball, whether it's career, whether it's home, whether it's, parent, relationship, household, one of those balls is falling. So the way that I really like to work with women around this is really having their mind shift and thinking about it as a pendulum. The one that swings kind of back and forth. And one side is career and one side is home. And guess what? When we think about it that way, then we're not trying to do everything equal. We recognize that sometimes we're going to spend more time at work. Sometimes we're going to need to spend more time at home, but then it always kind of evens out. So if you're spending a lot of time at work, you're just all the way over here. Yep. Just make sure that at some point it goes back to the other side. That's all. And give yourself a break. My goodness. I see so many women that really, I'm like, why do you need to do it? And the answer is always, but I should, but everybody else does. And all of this. And that's where, having a coach is so helpful. They're the ones from the outside and can really help you ask those questions. So that way you can be like, oh, do I really need to? And just having that mind shift, I think, is huge.
Oh man, this shoots straight to my heart. I love I Help Moms coaches. I can tell you, hands down, my husband and I own multiple businesses, and we would feel often like our businesses were rocking, and guess where our relationship was? And then guess when our relationship was at the high, our businesses were like crashing. And as soon as I started coaching with coaches like Sasha and our incredible I Help Moms coaches, and I love that you use the pendulum analogy, all of a sudden we let those bricks of pressure fall off our back. We stopped comparing ourselves to other parents, and we locked into what does our family need? What are our strengths? How can we support one another? And listening to a coach exactly like Sasha, giving us great tips and tools in our toolbox to use every day. Man, Sasha, what you guys do changes lives. So I love that. Thank you for that analogy. I'm going to use that pendulum analogy forevermore. And guess what? When you work with coaches like Sasha, you can pass on tips like that to our kids because our kids are watching everything we do, which we're going to get into more. Let's go to question number 2 that I have for you. And you know what? Let's face it. I think we all feel this at some point or another when we're juggling a career, a passion, a hobby, something that we as women and moms and parents are putting time into, and then juggling being a great role model and a great parent, which is feeling guilty, right? And so I want to ask you, what is your tip or strategy for parents to face this and not just shove it under the rug or divert from it, but really go head on and talk about, I might feel guilty. What do I do now?
Yes. I'm so glad that you brought that up because let's face it, we all have mom guilt. Okay. Let's just own it. Number one is let's own our stuff. Okay. That's the biggest thing because we try sometimes to kind of run away from it. And then we make excuses and all of that. But number one, more than anything, just own it. You feel guilty, you feel bad for missing a ballet class, or you feel horrible that you're working late and not at the soccer practice. But then I come in and say, but what's going to happen? What happens if you miss that soccer practice? What happens if you miss that ballet? And then oftentimes I hear, well, I know nothing will, but I'm going to feel missed out. I'm going to be the one that is thinking about it. Most of the times we think that our children are the ones that are going to complain. Like, why didn't you come to this? Because maybe we've had some of that from our childhood of our parents' generation, maybe not being there as much as we wanted them to be. So when it comes to mom guilt, own your stuff, number one. Number two is recognize where it comes from. Is it really about the child or is it really about you? Because if they don't care if you're there at the soccer practice, but you do, then it's about you. Yeah. So once you have that distinction, then you can really act upon it because then you have the choice. Yes, you can sacrifice work and go to that soccer. Or how else can you look at it? Can you think about the fact that, you know what, I can't be at practice, but I'm going to make sure I'm there for the game, right? Or maybe I can't make every game, but I'm going to make sure to be there for the championship or whatever it looks like. Where's that middle ground for you? Because there's going to be some compromises. Again, it goes back to this whole, like, we have one plate and we keep trying to stack things onto it. At some point, there's no room on it. Yeah. So what are those things that are on your plate that you want to highlight? What's like the main part, right? And those are the things that you really should be focusing on. And everything else is kind of like a side dish. But a lot of times our side dishes try to be a main dish. And then we have like 5 main dishes. You can't eat steak and chicken and fish and all of this stuff in one dinner, right? There's always going to be one main dish. So what is it for you?
You guys, how good are her analogies? I mean, that is such a golden nugget. And my favorite thing about working with coaches like Sasha, you guys, we're getting the cliff notes of parenting. It's amazing. Like, I hear so many veteran moms older than myself or farther along in their journey are like, where was ihelpmoms when I was going through this? I suffered so much guilt. My marriage fell apart. My kids seemed to blame me for everything, even though I gave them everything. Guys, you don't have to wait. Talk to Coach Sasha, and you'll literally never have that conversation later on because you're being proactive, prioritizing your priorities, and getting professional coaching from Coach Sasha. It doesn't get any better than this. So I want to go to question number 3, Sasha, which is, what is your biggest piece of advice for parents that want to really take that stress down a notch, yell less, find more peace, and create a more mindful, actual joy-filled family?
I would say one of my other analogies that I love, that I always ask any of my clients to think about, is what do you want in 20 years your kids to remember you by? What is it? When they look back at their childhood, what do you want them to say? Do you want them to say, my mom always nagged me to eat the vegetables? Do you want them to say, my mom pursued her career, like she was like sharing those moments? Because a lot of times what happens is we feel isolated for our success, especially our career success. We're not sharing it with our families of like, wow, I got a promotion, let's celebrate. Or, I just closed a big deal. Or, my business is at the next level, whatever it may be. We're kind of shielding our children from that, from the career side of it. And we're just being this mom life. And I'm trying to bring in and say, but what do you want them to remember? Because who do you want them to be in the world? Because I know for me, I have 2 boys. I want them to remember as the mom that went for it, as the mom that took the risks, that, is an entrepreneur, is trying to do good in the world, trying to be there for people and be a good mom and have fun. And that's the thing. That's one of my biggest priorities, is how can I be more of a fun mom? Not in a spoiled way of like, okay, ice cream for breakfast type of thing. Although that does sound pretty good now that I just said it out loud. I'm not gonna lie. But what does fun look like to me? And fun to me is like a family dance night. Fun to me is like cuddle and watch a movie. Like fun to me is being at the beach. And has a different version of fun. Maybe it's just reading to your child, and that's what fills you up, and that's fun to you. One of my biggest tips I give for parents in terms of having fun, I try to surprise my kids once in a while, just pick them up from school and be like, hey, let's get ice cream, or
Yeah.
let's go get a piece of cake. And it's just a one on one time, but it's just fun. And
Yes.
guess what? I probably wanted the ice cream. I probably wanted the cake. It's a great excuse for me, instead of trying to be like, okay, what museum are we going to see? Just where are you at, and what do you love to do, and how can you bring more of that to your kids? Maybe it's hiking, maybe it's being out in nature, maybe it's yoga, meditation, whatever it is that you enjoy. That's what I want to make sure you're bringing to your children,
Yeah.
versus kind of this rigid, isolated mentality that I feel like society has put us in, where you have to, be a certain way, you have to like certain things, and you must know 5 languages by the time you graduate high school, otherwise you don't matter.
I'm laughing because I have so much joy radiating from my soul. We're 3,000 miles away, but her coaching advice, it just is like a warm hug. And most of all, I get coaching from our coaches all the time. When these questions pop up, I'm like, I'm not having fun. I'm not having fun. I'm trying to control this and I'm stressed out. This is not the mom that I want to be. All right, Sasha, let's do a call. Let's get into this because I'm bringing back fun to motherhood, and these coaches are going to help us do this. I love what you're saying. And I feel like so many times in motherhood, we have this preconceived notion of what it should look like. Should is, that word, right? Our kids are watching us. So are we having fun? Are we being kind? Are we serving others? You mentioned making a positive impact in the world. Like, those are characters I want my kids to take into the world, into the legacy, and they're learning that from watching us, you guys. So I love everything you're saying, and I'm just radiating with joy and so grateful for our coaches. And I'd love to hear from you, Sasha. You and I were talking about when I had my first baby, I suffered from awful postpartum depression, but money was super tight. We had started a new business, so we didn't have extra funds, right? And then all the baby stuff comes along. You're buying cribs, and you buy your glider and your breastfeeding pillow, and everything gets really expensive really fast. And so guess what? I put my depression on the back burner because I didn't have the $100, $200 to spend to get my own mental health. And so, Sasha, I would love for you to talk about how I Help Moms is revolutionizing and opening up the affordability and accessibility for all parents to get coaching help so we can all learn the cliff notes to decrease stress and increase parenting success with coaches like you, and how this model has really revolutionized it for coaches like yourself and parents like me.
Yes, absolutely. Look, I think the biggest thing that is brought to the table is the ease of access. You don't have to wait for your 1 week, like once a week appointment with a therapist, or this or that, or, go down the Google train of like, how do I do this? And that, because guess what, guys? Everything is time and money. So even if you're trying to be like, I can do it on my own, of course you can. But guess what? That's going to take you so much more time than if you would have just gotten on the call, had a mind shift, thought about things in a different way, got techniques, and were able to go out there. And it doesn't have to be this forever part as well. I think a lot of us think that, like, to make any change, or like maybe we even question ourselves of like, can I really do it? But get on the phone, just try.
Yes.
Just try, take some time. And guess what? You'll get there, because this is my biggest thing, is that we always kind of look from this, like, we're at point A and we want to be at point B, right? And what I say is that, yes, but before getting to point B, you got to make all these small little steps. So just calling, dialing in, or getting on a call with I Help Moms, even for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, Maybe one time it's 5 minutes, the next time it's 10 minutes, and
Yeah.
you kind of get yourself to a place of comfort. Because
Yeah.
again, we got to meet people where they're at. So someone may not be ready for a whole deep dive of like where are their parenting strategies coming from? Why do they feel this way? Or, this, but you may be ready for just someone to listen
Yeah.
and just say, hey, I get you. I've been there. And because I'm an expert and I've worked with so many people that have this exact thing that you're worried about, here are 3 things that you can do today.
Yeah. Oh man, Sasha, I love it. You guys, it's by the minute coaching support with experts just like Sasha. There's no commitment, there's no contracts, there's no sessions, there's no hour long on the couch in an office. It is so convenient. You just click ihelpmoms.com, go to talk to a consultant, type in Sasha, and she's going to pop up and you get to talk to her just like this. So I can only tell you from my own experience, these coaches have changed my life. They've changed my marriage. They've changed my child's behavior. I mean, our house is happier than we have ever been. I have 3 little ones under 9. Life is busy. And I've never been happier because of coaches like Sasha. So I want to just implore you, check out ihelpmoms.com, talk to a consultant, buy the minute help on demand, look for Sasha's green light. It's going to be awesome. It's Uber for parenting support. It doesn't get any better, and it's all virtual. So thank you for these tips. Oh my gosh, the pendulum, making sure that we have fun. I just love, love, love your tips, and I can't wait to do more of this, Sasha. Thanks for being a coach on iHelpMoms.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure. It's so much fun. And that's what life's
Awesome.
about, guys, having fun. So go out there and have fun.
Thanks, Sasha.